Good start. Hello guys, welcome back to New Who HQ. I am Matt, and today I'm reviewing the 2023 Christmas special, The Church on Ruby Road. It was Ncuti Gatwa's first official adventure as the brand new Doctor, starring alongside Millie Gibson. So how I'm going to do this, I'm going to give my overall thought, and I'm going to go into not too much the plot, because obviously you sort of already know the plot, but sort of my views to pick out from the plot, and then the other stuff that's happened and the ending I'll get into as well. Firstly, I am not crazy on Christmas specials. It's not normally important to Doctor Who in a story way. I think it's great for, to get families sitting around together, and it's nice to have a Christmas special back. But in terms of what actually happens in it, I don't normally enjoy them as much as normal episodes. I'll make an exception for A Christmas Carol with Michael Gambon in Matt Smith's era. That is my favourite Christmas special, but the Capaldi, the David Tennant Christmas special, I have no real care for it. And obviously Tennant's my favourite Doctor, and I still don't particularly like him or the actual episode there. So I think it's the same sort of thing here, really. I'm not going to start going on about what I think about Ncuti the Doctor, because I've literally just had a Christmas special. I don't really feel like it properly gets us an image of what he is like. But what I do like about it is that we get a lot of time for him, and between the dynamics, between him and Millie or Ruby Sunday. So that is nice to see, and it gives us an idea of what they're going to be like together. The overall plot I think is pretty solid. Again, it's quite family fun, it's quite nice. I like the feel of it. I like the Doctor Who always feels like it's brand new, and this definitely has a new feeling towards it. But I'm not going to be as positive as I have been on the 60th specials. Firstly, the plot, it was good. I'd say a nitpick for the plot, negative, was probably the goblins. Now, the goblins were built up for me to be a reasonable threat in this special, and I felt like the way they were dealt with felt a little bit easy. When the goblins are trying to eat Lulabelle, which is Ruby's foster mum, child that they're looking after, they get onto the ship and they, have a good little interaction. I love the rope scene where he's trying to find out, is it the vocabulary of rope, something like that. It was going off about rope, which I thought was quite interesting, and I'll get into what I think about Ncuti properly in a minute, but the way that when they just come onto the ship, they start singing and dancing, which is different. I'll give it that. Doctor Who's trying new things, I understand that. It didn't work for me, the singing, the dancing, and I think the fact is that they done that and then left the ship, and that was that. That wasn't it. The goblins obviously did come back, and the whole thing with Ruby, with her not existing, I thought that was nice, but I thought the actual threat of the time, we didn't see them. We didn't see what they were truly capable of to go and be a massive threat, and then they were sort of just dealt with by singing and dancing. And I know this is a Christmas special, it's light-hearted, but maybe this is getting a little bit silly in terms of how they sort of got out of the situation. Maybe I'm just being really, really harsh on it. But of course I'm not going to shy, I do very much know at the end of the episode, or, towards the end, that they did actually take Ruby and completely obliterated her from history, so I get that we saw what they could do there, which I thought was a really nice touch. And we're going to speak about Ncuti and Ruby now. I like him. He's very full on, which normally a Doctor is when they regenerate. They've got so many questions, they're so inquisitive about absolutely everything. But just the sort of thing he brings as the Doctor, I can't quite put my thoughts on it yet until I see more of him, so I'm going to leave it. But for the most of it, I do quite like him. And I loved him in Sex Ed, so I was very excited to see him. Maybe, I don't know, maybe my hopes were a little bit too high, and maybe he hasn't brought exactly what I wanted yet, but then, yet again, to shut up, Matt, because we're literally only an episode in and it was a Christmas special. So we'll come back to this question throughout season 1, and yeah. Ruby Sunday, I like. She reminds me of like Rose and Clara combined a little bit. I quite like her. I think I like more their dynamic together, because it's good to have a good character, but these two are going to be so important. They're going to be working together, they're going to be going on all sorts of adventures together, so they need to make sure that they click, and they do. They give enough time to click. I tell you what I do like about Ncuti, which I haven't seen from many other Doctors, is showing his emotion, and to showing how kind he is. I feel like, some doctors sometimes forget to be kind, and they're kind in their own way, but they're not out and out kind. And I feel like Ncuti was with, for the police officer, someone he doesn't even know, and knowing about the ring, and yes, she's going to say yes, and just how nice he was being to him. That felt quite warming, and something that I haven't really had. I feel like with Whittaker, we didn't really truly get her true emotions. With Ncuti, we're getting off straight off the bat. When we find out that the goblins have nicked all of the foster children's, been erased from history, and Ruby, and to the foster mum, he's crying. That we're seeing just him being emotional, and I feel like the Doctor being emotional is kind of a taboo. It's not really shown, so I'm glad that he shows that. Other little shout outs, I love all the side characters. I love the grandmother asking for a tea. It's a nice bit of comedy. I like the foster mum as well. I don't know if anyone sort of sees where I'm coming from here, but for me, Doctor Who's always been about the bad budget, about the sort of rubbish effects, but still hold up. Some do still hold up, some definitely don't. But it still feels like Doctor Who to me. Maybe this is just a change that I need to get used to around my head, but you could tell there was a Disney budget, which actually did take away the magic a little bit for me. And that may sound a little bit silly to say that the magic was in the rubbisher budget, but it kind of took away the identity of Doctor Who a little bit. Really glad obviously Disney are around, because it gives the whole show more advertising, which gets it more viewers and hopefully more popularity over time. But I just felt like it was very, very sort of not what we know from, and again the magic wasn't fully there. But yet again, it's a new era, a real new era. Season 1, I'm calling it Series 14, don't even care. So we'll have to obviously give time, and I'm sure I'll get used to it, but I want to know if anyone else sort of feels the same. So the ending with Mrs. Flood. Now, I have seen so many rumours about this. My thoughts, I like her. I liked how she was just sort of sitting there and watching everything happen, the thing with the TARDIS. She seemed like a nice side character, and then there's a little bit more to her when she winked and said, "Never seen a TARDIS before," looking directly at the camera. Now, so much speculation has come from this. Either she's something that we haven't seen before, she's a brand new threat, or she is something that we already know. I've heard some things about River Song because of Melody Pond, River Song, Mrs. Flood. Yeah, I can kind of see it, but I feel like River Song was Stephen Moffat's character. I don't know if Russell will bring her back, so I feel like her ending was quite nice, but at the same time she's had a few seasons off now, so she wasn't in Whittaker at all, so maybe, it's time for her to return, but it seems a little bit far-fetched for me. The Rani, I've heard about the Rani, that's a possibility. Of course, the Master is the obvious one, it could very much be the Master, but I feel like it's something brand new. I've heard it could be Ruby when she's older, saying good luck, Ruby Sunday, go, she's really pushing her to go, and never seen a TARDIS before. It makes sense to be her. I feel like the dark, sinister tone we get from Mrs. Flood is sort of throwing me away from thinking it's Ruby, because Ruby wouldn't be like that. So it feels like to me it's going to be a villain. And Russell has said it's going to be a slow burn as to who it is and when we find out. Which gets me onto the main point, which is mystery boxes. Mystery boxes are a big thing for Russell T Davies. Bad Wolf, Torchwood, the planets disappearing out from the sky, the bees disappearing, there's something on your back. All of that was hinted in episodes before they, was finally revealed. And that's been happening with Stephen Moffat, with the cracks in the wall with Matt Smith, the silence will fall. All of that has been referenced from, it is done from other showrunners, but Russell is very, very prone to this. Now, some people are a bit icky about this. I personally like it because it builds up suspense. Yet again, it may not be done in the same way. I feel like a lot of the fandom are sort of assuming it's going to be the same after just one episode, and it was a Christmas special. So I think people need to just slow down before they get too far ahead of themselves and just think about that it could be very much different. Russell has grown and it's different times. So we'll just wait. We have to wait till May, which I was hoping sort of February, March time, but May, it's fine. We've been spoiled with Doctor Who content recently with 3 specials and a Xmas special. So yeah, I do like the mystery boxes myself. I quite like them, and I'm excited to see where they go. There's a Mrs. Flood mystery box, the one who waits, the one that picked up the golden tooth at the end of the giggle. There's a lot there to unpack, and maybe there's too much there, but I still am quite excited for it. So yeah, overall, the Church on Ruby Road, it's good. Oh yeah, one little thing, Ncuti Gatwa in a club. The Doctor's clubbing, finally, we love to see that. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Drop it down in the comments, be nice, let's not be mean, otherwise I'll just delete it. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe and give this video a like, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.